When we have issues like this that we need to understand, Shelly Palmer is the man who we turn to, the host of Digital Living. Shelly, so this summit has taken... Look, we can agree that this is one of the biggest issues for all chief execs and corporations to deal with.
For everybody, not just them, everybody in the whole world.
Right.
Yes.
Reputational, financial...
Everything.
Everything. But you don't believe this sort of summit does any good?
I wouldn't say I don't believe it does any good. I would applaud loudly the government's willingness to try and get everyone together. The problem they're having is that nobody can actually agree on what should be done. The frameworks they're proposing are kind of like the same frameworks they've been proposing. The sharing of data is the sharing of data that they've voluntarily had for a while. So to say I'm going to...
But post-Snowden and NSA and WikiLeaks, that sharing has become extremely suspicious, and many of the companies, Verizon, AT&T, have all litigated to stop sharing information.
Correct, and the reason is there's somewhere we're living between what the actual problem is and what the perceived problem is. If you wanted to assess risk here appropriately, you have to understand that we on the internet, all of us, live in a glass house with no door locks, with the lights off, nobody's home, and all of our possessions are in full view. That's about the amount of security you have online. Big corporations have a fiduciary responsibility to safeguard their information. They do their best. The problem we're trying to solve for right now is, how does the government know when we are under attack? If a cyber terrorist or a cyber war starts and they go after the biggest corporations or the biggest financial institutions to do the most harm, will those corporations then tell the Pentagon, hey, we're under attack? And the answer is, if they don't, we don't actually know.
Right, but they have to be, then the government has to provide some form of indemnity, some form of release for those companies so that they can basically come clean.
This is such a complicated issue, such a non-soundbite issue, because the Pentagon has a mandate. The government has a mandate to protect us, right? We have a government. We live in a republic. We elect our leaders, and we want protection. Corporations are the first line of defense in a cyber war. The government's networks are separate from our internet. The government's networks are actually much more secure and separate from the public internet that we're on. Our internet is completely open. And so where these things intersect, there are real issues, and they must be dealt with in a very subtle and thoughtful way.
Subtle and thoughtful are not two things that usually go together with government and corporations. Final point. As I said to the head of the Secret Service cyber security, the agent in charge, I said to him, is it inevitable that we're just going to get more and more of these hacks and more release of information?
Head of the FBI and a lot of other people have said the following. I will paraphrase. There are only two kinds of companies on planet Earth. Companies that have been hacked and companies that do not know they have been hacked. That's the story. It's not going to get better until it gets a lot worse. Richard, we just have to keep trying to fight the good fight and applaud the government for doing so.
Okay, finally, have you ever been hacked?
Absolutely.
Even Shelly Palmer?
Even Shelly Palmer.
Even Shelly Palmer?
Even Shelly Palmer. It happens all the time.
Thank you very much, Shelly.
All right,
Thank you very
we'll see
much
you soon.
indeed. Right,
Yep.
Shelly...